Hey all, Hipper here. So, it's been taking me a while to get to Azur lane Neptune, I know that, but I've really been taking my sweet time looking at this commander because honestly, I am not sure she's worth it. I'm sure for some people, but for myself, I'm not sure. So anyway, you can buy her in the store for 5,000 doubloons, or you can buy her at level 16 for 20,000 doubloons, and I would suggest you bought her at level 16. Just remember, there's no legendary, she's legendary 0, so you still need to use a lot of commendations to actually get her up to the high level, especially because her special skill is in row 4. So there's still quite a bit of investment in this commander here, and is it worth it? I'm not sure. Now, of course, she's not bad, but I think she's too situational to make sense, honestly. If you look at her Battle Rage base perk, it deals extra AP damage per percent hit points lost. So if you max her out, that means if you have 1% hit point left, which is very, very little, let's all agree on that, you will do 10% more AP damage. And sure, I mean, that's nice. Or you could just, put Lucian's on as an inspiration for any other commander, and you'll get 5% extra AP damage no matter what. But I will get into that later. So her special perk here in row 4, remember this is row 4, so if you need to max this perk, you're gonna have to put her at legendary 4, which will take nearly 30 universal commendations. Just be careful with that, okay? Goddess of the Sea, extra damage against cruisers and destroyers, that's nice. But -7 against battleships, I don't know. I don't know. In my opinion, I think that's giving up too much. I really think so. Of course, extra against destroyers is nice, but again, it's a really difficult one. This commander here, I really think so. But obviously, if you're going to kit out this commander here, you should go for a damage build, like I've done here. That's probably the one I would play her with if I was going to play her. And as an inspiration, I would pick Yamamoto as one inspiration for the extra AP Shield's penetration, +6. So that in combination with her base perk and her special perk at row 4 will make her quite an AP goddess. Let's put it like that, shall we? So for the second inspiration, I would pick Günther Lucian's here with a 5% extra AP Shells damage, like I said before. And this guy is what makes Neptune a questionable choice in my opinion, because this guy will give you 5% AP damage all the time, no matter what. You don't need to be down at half health, which would be about 5% extra damage with Neptune. And I realize on Neptune, if you're very low health and you have the base perk that gives you more AP damage, plus the Goddess of the Sea perk that gives you even more AP damage, except for battleships, then it would make sense to put Lucian on here as well and get a lot more damage, like nearly probably around 20% extra, unless it's a battleship. That makes sense, yes, but yeah. If you think it'll work for you, obviously you should go for it, but for me, I think it's too situational, honestly. For me personally, if I have to insist on using a premium commander, I would probably use Hot Rod instead. And as you can see, I haven't even used this guy because also I don't think he's better than Tenant at all, or Fraser for that matter. I think they're still better. And Hot Rod will give you better radar, faster cooldown time, and a longer duration of your radar. And it's also in the 3rd row, not the 4th row, so this guy is just easier to upgrade. But in the end, I like my British cruisers the agile way, so Tenant will always be my pick until we get something that is potentially better. Now, a Neptune could be a useful inspiration for the German cruisers, especially if you like to use Riegerwald here, because, let's face it, British cruisers with 1% or let's say 10% hit points, they usually get removed quite quickly, unless you're playing Edinburgh, obviously. But a German cruiser with 10% health, it's a different story because they've got that turtle back, and I just think that perhaps putting Neptune as an inspiration on Riegerwald would be an option at the very least, if you absolutely insist on using this commander. So have Riegerwald and then put Lucian's on here with the Gimlet perk, or base perk, gives you extra 5% AP damage. And Rigavald already has some crazy perks on his own, so obviously this is going to be a pure AP build that you can use on all German cruisers. And you're really spoiled for choice with the German cruisers because there's so many commanders for them. And including the new Rune commander, we also got this update here. So I don't know how many cruiser commanders there are now, probably 6 or 7 premium ones that you can choose from. So the Germans are the most fun, really. You can have so many different builds here. And obviously, as a second inspiration, put on Neptune, and you'll get that extra AP damage as soon as your hit points go down a bit. You'd have to be at around like half hit points before it would start to like make sense. But of course, if you're sitting in smoke and you have 1% hit points left, well, not in a German cruiser, but a British, it makes sense. But again, you could put Yamamoto on as well instead of Neptune, and just have that extra penetration always. So like I said, Rigavald has the Kraken Shells perk here, and it's in the second row, notice that, so it's easy to upgrade, which will give it 10% AP penetration multiplier and extra cruiser speed as well. The speed is probably not that important on this build here, but the AP penetration is very important. So this guy here would be an option if you had Neptune, and that means that Neptune would be an inspiration primarily, and then it's a lot of work, it's a lot of resources to put in for what is probably primarily an inspiration. So anyway, I can't really give any final advice here. I would leave it up to you to think that if you think she would be worth it or not. For me, I probably don't think she's worth it. So hope you enjoyed it, and see you out there.